Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this little video of the survey responses from the 1060 Catholic Radio listeners. I'm Scot Landry, one of the initiators of Catholic Radio here in Boston and Eastern New England. Thanks for joining us. So the survey that we just did, I'd like to thank all of the couple of hundred people who responded to the survey, and I'm going to share with you what your fellow Catholic Radio listeners had to say. So, first question, how do you listen to Catholic radio programming? And we gave people the option to choose every option. More than 90% listen through the radio, 1060 AM. About 30% listen via the mobile app, iCatholic Radio. About 22% listen to us through the internet, and about 5% listen to the podcast of the various local shows. And we asked people how often they listen, and almost 90% of people either listen every day or they listen Monday through Friday, but not over the weekend. We asked how many hours somebody listened in the last week, and the vast majority of our people listen between 1 to 5 or 6 to 10 hours. But we have about 10% of our listeners that listen longer than that. When do you listen to Catholic radio? We found that the most common time was the morning drive. About 75% of folks listen during the morning. 2/3 of our listeners listen in the afternoon. And then the rest is pretty much spread out throughout the day, although not many of those who responded to the survey are listening in the wee hours of the morning. So how did people first hear about 1060 Catholic Radio? Very interestingly, the number one reason was a friend or family member or fellow parishioner told them about it. Number two was folks just channel surfed and they stuck on it. And then number three was somebody saw one of those 1060 Catholic Radio bumper stickers, or the Try God bumper stickers out there, and that's when they first chose to tune the radio to 1060 AM. So that's one of the reasons why we've launched this Parish Captain Initiative, and we're trying to get more bumper stickers on the road. If you don't have a bumper sticker yet, please consider putting one on your vehicle. We asked everybody to rate the programs that are on 1060, and most of the shows get a very similar rating. You might be interested, what was the top rated show? By a very slim margin, it's the Catholic Answers live show in the evening. But most of the shows were rated that folks like them a lot. So we asked an open-ended question, what additional programs would you like to see on 1060 Catholic Radio? And we got some great ideas. Some wanted more Bible study, possibly by Jeff Caven. Others wanted a Catholic music program. Others asked for more in-depth catechism exercises to explain the faith, possibly even a catechism minute at the end of the hour. Often our listeners wanted national and international news or current events conversation shows. More apologetics. We have many apologetic shows on 1060 Catholic Radio, but some welcomed even more than what we have. Some wanted the practical applications about how we can live out our faith, particularly with some of the issues that are coming up in contemporary society, like immigration or religious liberty or things like that. Many others suggested we need more local programming here on 1060 Catholic Radio. Some, and it wasn't my mom, I promise, wanted to bring back a show like The Good Catholic Life. Some others wanted political analysis from a Catholic or a Christian point of view, to have the Catholic perspective on the conversation, to prepare us for those dinner table or cocktail conversations or conversations at the Little League field that we'll all be engaged in. One suggestion was a nightly news hour here on 1060. Others wanted interviews with converts, or possibly a spoken rosary in chaplet, not to take over the one that is on from 3 to 4 p.m., but perhaps for those that pray the rosary better through spoken, that we would add that to the lineup. Teen shows, possibly a teen worship or music radio hour, was suggested by several respondents to the survey. One very interesting idea was if you could get recordings of the best homilies that are out there by local priests, possibly have a best homilies hour. Some folks love the Sunday morning show, Christ is the Answer, with Father John Riccardo. So they said, how can we get more of that during the week? Vatican News show, a study of Scripture, perhaps 1 hour on the Sunday Gospel. Folks would welcome a series on the sacraments, a series on theology of the body, a program on the history of the church, some moments and how we become the church that we live here in 2014, a conversation on differences we share with other Christian churches, and perhaps focusing on the similarities we have with other folks that profess their belief in Jesus Christ. There are many call-in shows, but some of our listeners who responded to the survey said, I'd love that late at night when I can't get to sleep and I have this question on my mind that I could call in and ask. Reflections or meditations on the daily readings, perhaps by a priest or deacon. Interviews with book authors. I love to do those shows on the Good Catholic Life. Shows on the lives of the saints and how we're all called to be saints in 2014. A show on Catholic practices, really, starting from the mindset, why do we do that? Why do we do certain things in the Catholic Church? And some wanted guest lecture hours, possibly by Boston College's Peter Kraft, a wonderful author, or Scott Hahn from Franciscan University. Shows on Catholic parenting, a lot of folks were interested in. Just the broadcasting of various conference talks, those great talks that we used to have at the men's and women's conferences here in Boston, or from conferences across the country. And then some suggested some sort of an ongoing study program or series live on the radio, such as the types of programs that parishioners sometimes gather for, but those who might be shut-ins and they can't get to their parish asked if we'd think about doing that through the radio. So all great ideas. We'll be kicking those around with our advisory boards and with station leaders. So then we asked several questions on how the listening to Catholic radio affected the way that folks live the faith. So did it change the way people attended religious services? Almost 30% said that they attend religious services, particularly Mass, but perhaps adoration, more frequently. Only 1 or 2 said less frequently. I want to talk with those people, figure out why. And then most folks are already very active in their church, more than 70%. The next question on that we asked, has it helped you to learn the Catholic faith better? And between the first 3 boxes, about 97% of folks said it either helped them quite a bit, they've learned a lot more, or it helped them somewhat. And it certainly helped me learn the faith more. So has Catholic radio increased your active participation in your parish? 33% said yes, 67% said no. Essentially, they're already active in their parish, is how I read that. Have you become more likely to contribute financially to your parish or to other Catholic charities since you began listening to Catholic radio? About 30% said yes, about 30% said somewhat, and about 45% said no. They're already contributing generously to all these other causes. So we asked an open-ended question with some choices that folks could pick. Catholic radio has helped me, the biggest one, grow more knowledgeable about the faith. About 95% of people checked that box. About 80% of folks said Catholic radio has helped me grow closer to God, then to teach my kids and grandkids the faith, strengthen or save my marriage. And then a lot of additional suggestions which were moving to me, and I'm happy to share them with you now. Catholic radio has helped me hear a balanced discussion of Catholic news, to keep up with my prayer life, to center my life on God. One respondent said to leave a position as a public school teacher to teach at their parish school. And then they added, that's the best decision I've ever made. So we congratulate that person on that decision. Catholic radio has helped me defend the faith when it's attacked, reaffirm my faith, deal with personal crises in my life, understand more about what I was taught as a child, stay closer to Christ, enable me to evangelize and to catechize others. It helped this one listener increase her random acts of kindness on a daily basis. Another said that it helps them feel closer to God by having holy inputs in my life and not so much garbage, as they said. It's helped other listeners continue to pray or remind them that they need to pray. Stick up for what the church teaches. Answer questions about the Catholic faith more confidently. Avoid wasted time listening to sports talk radio or other useless noise, one listener said. To strengthen my faith, to avoid worldly distractions, to encourage me to persevere through difficulties, and then one of my favorites, to just simply have a better lunch break. So then we asked, what are the top ways you think Catholic radio could serve you better? 75%, some odd, said, help get a stronger signal for Catholic radio in my town. And we're going to be launching an initiative and asking your help to do just that. About 30% said we want more Catholic news discussion. About 25% said we really need more local programming. And then others, about 20%, said just some different types of programs, those sort of programs that we mentioned earlier in this video. And then Catholic radio, we said, is 100% listener supported, and we have several on-air pledge drives. And we asked, how do you feel about the pledge drives? And, about 40 said, I understand why they're there, but I wish that there were fewer of them. About 35% said that they like them. So then we explored, well, what other ways do you think would be better for you, the listeners who responded, to support the station other than those fund drives? And the biggest one was perhaps if the pastor invites Catholic radio representatives to give a talk at Sunday Mass, we could do that. The next were email requests for support. Many of our listeners said that they would respond to those. About 32% said monthly electronic giving. About a third of you who responded said a special membership type of club. And others said some phone requests for support or direct mail. So a wide variety of different ways and what were suggested, and I think what we're going to try to do at 1060 after some meetings with our advisory board is just broaden the ways that we ask for support so that whatever way you'd prefer to support the station, you have that option available to you. Okay, other ways to raise funds. Some of you suggested some interesting ideas. One was to put an online store on our site. We're going to explore that. That's a really good idea. Host events at parishes on days that do not interrupt Mass time. One of the reasons we're encouraging parish captains to step forward is we're hoping some of our parish captains could be trained to give some of those talks so that folks at your parish see a friendly face that they've seen and prayed alongside at Mass. Many folks just said continue to offer or start to offer a greater variety or a greater combination of ways. A few suggested, why don't we just ask the diocese or a parish to take up a collection for Catholic radio? And I wish it were that easy, but because I served as the Director of Institutional Advancement for the Archdiocese, I know one of the concerns that pastors have is how many second collections and how many times they're passing the basket. So for a lot of reasons, I don't think this would work, but I did want to respond to it in the video for why you might not see that coming to a parish near you. And then many of you suggested, if we're on social media, would respond to a social media request. So we thank you, and we will be adding that when we do our campaigns. Then we asked you, what of the following communication methods do you currently hear news and updates from 1060 Catholic Radio? So 70% of you read our email lists. More than 60% listen to the news at the end of the hour on 1060 AM. Many of you receive our mailed newsletter, and then about 10% are getting Facebook or Twitter updates. So we hope to see all of these go to about 100. So if you're not receiving a newsletter or email, or you're not following us on Facebook or Twitter, please go to our website, 1060catholic.org, and sign up or follow us there. We asked you how you prefer for us to contact you. We've taken that and we've put it into our systems. Many of you prefer email communication than mail. Not too many of you want us to be calling you, I assume, in the middle of the night. Okay, and we won't, we promise. Do you currently have a Catholic radio bumper sticker on your car? 70% of you said no. 70%. Please reconsider. If you don't like putting a bumper sticker on the metal on your car, you could tape it to the window. Or if you'd like, well, I'll put it on if I can get it in magnetized format. Please let us know at the station and we'll get you a bumper magnet, and you can use that like I do. I want to thank those 30% who are already utilizing the bumper stickers or bumper magnets. If you remember back to one of our first slides, so many people hear about Catholic Radio because of those bumper stickers. Please consider adding that to your vehicles. All right, we asked folks, if you didn't have a bumper sticker, would you like us to mail it to you? We thank the 40% of you who said, please send one to me, I'll put it on my car. And then we asked if we added this volunteer role for a parish captain, would you consider serving? 42% of you said yes. Thanks so much. For those of you that said no, or for anybody watching this video that didn't take the survey, we need more parish captains. Right above this video here, you'll see the captain's link. It takes only a couple minutes to sign up, so please consider that today. And then we asked folks for some demographic stuff that might be interesting to you. 60% exactly of those who took the survey were women, and 40% were men. The general ages, the biggest cohort, were 45 to 54, then 55 to 64, then 35 to 44, and then we have our 65s to 74s. So generally, adults, similar to what we see, I think, in many of our vibrant parishes. And then how strongly do our respondents practice the faith? No surprise to me, 98% said they either practice it very strongly or strongly. How often do the respondents to this survey and Catholic Radio listeners attend religious services? About 30% say daily, 70% said weekly, only a few said special occasions or rarely. So we want to encourage those people, please join us at Mass more frequently. And then we asked if we had speaking events here in Boston, what speakers would you like us to invite? And you gave us more than 300 suggestions. It's an awesome list that we'll be looking for, and I'm sure other parish events might want to get a copy of that list. If so, contact Chris Kelly and he'll be happy to get it to you. But the top recommendations were our national show hosts, Teresa Tomeo, Patrick Madrid, Ray Guarendi, Jeanette Benkovich, Patrick Coffin from Catholic Answers Live, and then Al Cresta. So overall, we want to thank you for all your suggestions and input in this survey. If you still haven't participated, there's still time. If you're watching this on 1060catholic.org, to my left, there's a button there that says take the listener survey. We'd encourage you to do so. And before I close the video, I want to invite you and ask that you join us for our special live local broadcast. These are special events. We've never done one of these before, so we're hoping it's well listened to, and we hope that you'll join us on the Feast of the Assumption from 7 to 9 in the morning, and then a new live local show from 4 to 6 p.m., and we'll have opportunities for people to call in and hear about some of the brand new initiatives we're going to launch because of your feedback on the survey. So I thank you for listening to Catholic Radio. I ask you to continue to build up the Catholic Church, and please tell people about that you listen to Catholic Radio and encourage them to grow in faith just like we all have been. Thanks so much, and God bless you.